It's about 5:30 p.m. on Saturday. I haven't posted anything today. It's been a busy day. Um, Another mass shooting, Brown University, Providence, Rhode Island. 2 people dead, 8 people in critical condition. JD Vance literally tweeted word for word the same thing that he tweets after every mass shooting while being willing to do nothing. Donald Trump tweeted all we could do is pray. After he erroneously tweeted out that the shooter was in custody, the shooter is not in custody. The governor of Rhode Island, you know, I saw him give a statement and he said the unthinkable has happened. We are now at a point in 2025 where we have more mass shootings each year than the number of days each year. I'm not trying to rag on the governor, but saying that the unthinkable has happened is like saying the unthinkable has happened. Today is a day that ends in Y. You know, because every day ends in Y. You know, last weekend I wrote something down. I was gonna make a video. I heard somebody say something, and they said we could have any country that we want it to be. The United States could be whatever we want it to be. And I was thinking about that. And the United States is exactly what we have voted for in this country for the last 50, 60 years. You know, the destruction of the middle class started in 1980 when we elected Ronald Reagan, and has continued ever since, along with during that same period of time, something like 50 or 60 trillion dollars worth of wealth has been transferred from the bottom 90% to the top 1% because of who we have voted for. And then 20 years later in 2000, we kind of voted for George W. Bush, and then 9/11 happened, and it's been downhill ever since. Yeah, we elected Obama twice, and you know, but out of his 8 years, Democrats had control of the House and the Senate for the first 2 years, and then we got the country that we voted for. And then after Obama's second term, we got the country that we voted for by electing Donald Trump. And then we elected Joe Biden, and again, had the House and the Senate during the first 2 years of his term. The most productive of any president in the last 60 years. And then we got the country that we voted for by giving Republicans control of the House and the Senate during his last 2 years. And then we had 2 years of investigations into Hunter Biden, his laptop, and Burisma. And then in 2024, we got the country that we voted for when we reelected Donald Trump. Elected him for a second time. And he and members of his administration and Republicans in the House and the Senate, I mean, it's only taken them 11 months, less than 11 months, to destroy so much. And now we're starting to see a few here and there, Trump supporters were like, well, yeah, I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote for this. We have homelessness in this country because we choose to. It's what we vote for. We have in many areas of the country incredibly shitty K through 12 education because that's what we vote for. Millions and millions of Americans are now about to lose their access to health care because that's what we vote for. Millions of Americans, regardless of the government shutdown, are going to lose SNAP benefits because that's what we vote for. We spend $900 billion a year on the Department of Defense because that's what we vote for. We send Israel $4 billion a year because that's what we vote for. The constitutional right of every woman and girl in this country to have access to abortions was overturned by the Supreme Court after having been in place for 50 years because that is what we vote for. We could end homelessness. We could have socialized medicine. Every kid in this country could have a quality K through 12 education. We could end poverty in this country. We could end hunger in this country. We have more than enough money to do all of these things. We don't have any of those things because we choose not to, because that's what we vote for. We have more mass shootings than any other country on the planet because that's what we vote for. We have more guns than people in the United States because that's what we vote for. We still have unimaginable levels of racism and bigotry and misogyny and homophobia and transphobia and ableism in this country because that's what we vote for. So it's like, I see people on the app saying to MAGA chuds and whatever, have the day you voted for. We are all having the days that they voted for. In the last election, Trump got 77 million votes. Kamala Harris got 75.5 million votes. 90 million eligible voters stayed home and did not vote, which in itself is kind of voting. You're expressing something by doing that. We are a nation of gullible, ignorant, terrified white people who are scared to death that we are going to become a minority because we think that groups that are minorities now are going to treat us the way that we treat them and have treated them for the last 400 years. We have exactly the country that we have voted for. We don't have any nice things in this country because that's what we vote for. We have made choices and decisions. And so we have a mass shooting in an engineering building on a college campus. 2 people are dead. 8 people are critically wounded. The shooter is still at large because that is what we vote for. We are all having the days that they voted for.